Today I will be talking about manual restraints, which are used to provide an extra distraction for your horse if you're doing any kind of procedure in which he is a little bit uncomfortable or being naughty about it. And safety is always the #1 priority when you're using a manual restraint, and if you're not going to be able to get the job done safely, it's better to not do it. So there are 3 categories of manual restraints I will be talking about today. They are verbal, physical, and chemical. A verbal restraint, such as a low voice, will do a lot for calming an excited horse, and alternately, a sharper voice and a tug on the lead rope will provide an excited horse a little bit of instruction and reprimand them to get them to calm down a little bit. So for demonstration purposes today, I am using Louisa as my handler, just to provide an extra element of safety when I'm doing the different manual restraints on Strider. And it's also important to remember that you want to use the minimum manual restraint that you need. You don't want to bump it right up to chemical as soon as you start doing things. You want to go to the minimum first. So your very basic manual restraint is your halter and lead rope, and there are a few different kinds that you can use. The leather halter is a great option if you want to provide an even amount of pressure all the way across the nose and the poll of the horse. And it's also used as a breakaway halter. It will break if there's too much pressure applied. Nylon halters are very similar to leather. They provide pressure all across the nose and the poll. However, they do not break as easily. The third kind is the rope halter, and this is a more severe halter. It's a smaller amount of pressure, so it causes more pain across the nose. And there are also types of rope halters where there are knots interspersed along the noseband, and that can provide even more of a pressure point if you need it. So your next step up for manual restraints is your nose chain, and I'm going to apply this on this halter by putting it from the outside to the inside, looping it over the noseband, and from the inside to the outside, and then it's going to go up the side of his cheek where the clip is going to face outwards so you don't have an unnecessary piece of metal stabbing him in the side of the face. And when I come back around here, you want to make sure that your chain will run smoothly, so once you apply pressure in a downward fashion, it's not going to get stuck, and you'll be able to adjust your chain as you need to apply more pressure to your horse. The next manual restraint is going to be the lip chain. So this is applied in a very similar way that the nose chain is applied. So you're going to go from the outside to the inside, but you're going to go down instead of going up around the noseband, and you're going to loop it under his chin, and then go from the inside to the outside again. And you're going to run it up the side of the cheek piece and attach it to the cheek. So when I come back around here, I'm going to use 3 fingers to slide it under his lip and apply just enough pressure to get it where it's staying on his gums and it's not going to slide down and hit him in the teeth. And then I'm going to release it so he's not being annoyed. So you want to apply just enough pressure to get your manual restraint across. So similar to the lip chain is a lip twine, and this is kind of more of an improvised manual restraint. And you can also have different levels of severity with this. You can make it into a thicker strip, which will provide less severity, or a thinner one, which will be a little bit more severe. And you can braid it and do different variations of that as well. So I have tied it to the right side of his halter, just so I can loop it under his chin again, similar to the lip chain. And I'm going to go from the outside to the inside, and applying a downward pressure like you would with the lip chain as well. I'm going to once again slip this under his lip, applying just enough pressure so it stays on his gums, and you are going to apply enough pressure just to provide a little bit of a distraction there. The next manual restraint is a neck roll, and this is just done using your hand, and you're going to place your hand on the triangle of the neck where you would give an IM shot, and you're going to grab just a little bit of skin, and this works best when the horse is placed against something firm like a wall, because he's going to want to move in that direction, so it helps to have a little bit of a barrier there. So I'm going to take a little pinch of his neck and just roll my fingers forward, and as you can see, he's kind of moving away from it. And so this is a great manual restraint that's used for something fast, like giving a shot, or drawing blood, that kind of thing, where it's just quickly done because your hand is going to get tired. So a manual restraint that's great for if you're operating on one of the other legs is the leg lift. And you'll do a leg lift, if you are operating on one of the back legs, you will lift the leg that's on the same side in the front. And if you are operating on a front leg, you'll just use the opposite front leg. So the way a leg lift is done is you're going to pick up the leg, and using both hands, you're going to kind of hold it up. And if you get a hold of his toe, that's going to provide a little bit more security so he can't rip his leg out of your arms as easily. So the last manual restraint I'm going to demonstrate is a lip twitch. And this can be used with either a twine or a rope on the end, or a chain, which is a lot more severe. And you're going to want a longer shaft because it'll give you a little bit more control in case the horse starts to get a little anxious and move his head around. It gives you more control the longer the shaft that you have.
Great.
So I'm going to have 3 fingers through the rope just so my whole hand doesn't slip through and get stuck. And I'm going to reach and grab a part of his muzzle, just the end of his nose, and take it through the rope. And then I'm going to start twisting. And I have the shaft under my armpit, so I have a little bit more security. And I'm going to twist just enough so I have a good hold on it and it's not going to slip off of his nose. So I'm going to undo it. And you're going to undo it just as gently as you put it on and just slip it off. And you only have about a 10 to 12 minute period to keep your lip twitch on. Otherwise you enter the blow stage where the endorphins run out for the horse and it starts to become very painful and can cause more damage than has already been occurring. So you want to be very careful with your timing with your lip twitch.
Go.
So your last method of restraint that you should use, which should kind of be your last attempt, is your chemical restraints. And those include ACE, Rompin, and Detomidine. And these should only be used as your last attempt. And those are obviously like your most severe. So it's important to remember that none of these restraints will give you full control over your horse. And they're just meant as a temporary distraction to help you calm an anxious horse or get a little bit more control of the situation if you're doing any kind of procedure on your horse.